Hello there, and welcome back to the Closet Historian and back to my sewing room, where we're not going to be staying today. I'm actually going to be taking you up to my bedroom. So scandalous, I know. To show you a little bit of the redecorating I've been doing up there, showing you my terrarium cloche that I made here on the channel in situ in its new spot above, below my gallery wall with a couple of more friends. And my new bookcases that I picked up at the IKEA recently so that I could showcase some of my vintage in my bedroom. I've just been doing a little bit of redecorating up there, and I asked if you all wanted to see the results of that, and you said yes. So for those of you who are nosy and who want to know what my bedroom looks like, today is the day you will find out. All right, we begin outside of my bedroom door. That's right. We're in the hallway. This is a, suburban kind of house, so we have nice white painted trim and carpet upstairs, which are two things that I would not have in my own house where I have my own place. But here is my bedroom with all of my many dark Dutch floral painting prints because I love Dutch florals. And here's my bed. It's a size full. This is the same 4-poster bed I've had since I was 13 years old. And actually, those green pillows and that blue pillow, actually, I've had since I was about 13 as well. So, things hanging on here because I still live at my childhood home. And this is not, however, my childhood bedroom. This is a different room than I had when I was living here the first time. But here's this side of the room here. If you turn right when you enter the room, there's two doors on this wall. One leads into my bathroom, one leads into my closet. And then I have this little black standing dresser with different stuff on top of it. And this bookcase here in the back corner is new. I just added that from IKEA about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. I was on a trip to IKEA with one of my friends and thought, you know what? I need something to start storing more of my things because my closet gets full fast and overflows. Speaking of things that overflow, I have these two little dishes on top of this dresser it's like the drunk drawer. It's like random earrings, broken things I need to fix, lighters, bobby pins, buttons, various things. In fact, I have a whole canister of buttons up here. You never know when you're going to need a button. And I also have a couple of glass cloches on here. One has a fake pumpkin with one of my beaded beetle brooches on it, and the other has some paper beetles from the shop Moth and Myth. I will link them in the description below. Then above this nightstand over here, I have one of two Jan van Huysen, I believe it's how it's pronounced, Dutch floral paintings. These are posters from the Getty Museum in Los Angeles. I did live in Los Angeles for about a year and a half-ish. When I was about 18, I went to school for my freshman year of college out in LA, and I spent a lot of time at the Getty because I didn't have very many friends. But I do like the Getty, and it is a friend of mine, so I still have these two posters framed here in my bedroom. I just actually had them rematted, which is nice. But here's my first nightstand. I have lotion and chapstick and all that kind of stuff in that little black glass. And then I have a Victorian hair receiver. That's what the little dish with a hole in the top is. Those were for cleaning the hair out of your brush and storing the hair in order to make hair rats from. So that's probably an Edwardian, actually, era or on the edge of Art Deco hair receiver there. You can find them at antique shops quite often. Some people may find that quite gross, but I do not. I actually use those to store medicine. So I have ibuprofen and Tylenol in there in case I wake up in the middle of the night with a headache or something like that. I also have whatever book I'm reading, which is currently The Anthropocene Reviewed. I have about 2 chapters left of that. I really just need to finish it. A candle, another of my brooch terrariums, not terraniums, terrariums. I keep saying it wrong even now. Of course, some pens here because I do lean out of bed in the middle of the night, turn my lamp on, jot things down. And then this lamp actually belonged to my grandmother, my dad's mom. So I inherited this from her, and I really like having it here on my bedside table. On the top of this new standing bookcase, I have a glass jar full of random things, some fossils, some antlers, some lanterns, random kind of stuff that I like. I'm a maximalist, as we know. And then on these shelves, I have special items. So my box bag collection here, these are all my beaded box bags. I was thinking about making a video just about these beaded box bags because they are quite collectible and also very fun, and I have a great time bargain hunting for them. This gold and copper beaded one I found recently for $200 less than it should have been priced. This one was only $19, and they usually can go for up to $500. I've seen these bags. So I have some of my more special pairs of shoes. These are my Remix heels, and then of course those glittery, sparkly spiderweb heels that I'm so enamored with, and the little spider bag that I found that matches them quite well. And then I have all these books here. These are books that I have not read yet, but that I want to. But yes, this door here leads to my walk-in closet. So inside of here I have a lot of shoes on the floor because there's nowhere else to put them. But here's all my hanging clothing. I have dresses on the left-hand side, and then tops on the top of the right, and skirts underneath those. I have belts and some necklaces hanging on the back wall, and then all of my other handbag storage, I suppose. I have various places throughout this room that have handbag storage, but this is my collection of vintage clutch and handle handbags, I suppose. And then again, over here on this side, I have belts hanging on the wall, and skirts and tops hanging. I do have a more thorough closet tour in the end of my closet clear out video from last year, so I can put that in a card here. But if you stand in front of that closet door and look at the rest of the room, this is what you see. This is my one window, part of the reason it's so kind of dark in this room. Also, I have it closed here so you can't see my view out the window as well. But here's my dresser, the other bookcase, and then I have more storage in the corner there. But here is my new gallery wall. I've always had a kind of gallery wall here, but I recently rearranged the whole thing and framed some new things. Like I picked up this moth on Etsy. I will link to this store where I got this prepared moth because I don't know how to prepare moths properly. I can do butterflies and smaller moths, but something big like that, I'll leave it to the professionals. But you can see I have the brooch shadow box that I made here on the channel up here on my wall, and the biggest poster is another Dutch floral painting. This one is actually from the National Gallery here in the United States, in the Smithsonian Gallery, and I can link to this exact high-resolution image that I had printed at Kinko's. That's how I made this, or I got this poster. I just downloaded the image from the National Gallery. They do have high-resolution downloads of many of the pictures that are considered public property of the United States citizens, I suppose. And then I had it printed at FedEx Kinko's, and it came out really nice and very sharp. I was really happy with the print quality. That's also the two Veritas, which are the still lifes with skulls here on either side. Those I also had printed at Kinko's. So that is a really good option for cheaper art. But again, yes, I have my brooch shadow box that I made here on the channel. I can put a card up to that video here, and then this little butterfly next to it was actually the first real butterfly I ever purchased or ever obtained, and this one is from Decor in Paris. Not to, like, I mean, this entire video is showing how much of a spoiled person I am, but if you are ever in Paris, I highly recommend going to Decor. I will link them below. It's a taxidermy shop, and you can pick out a butterfly and have them framed there. This one was another one I picked up online, however, and I can link to the shop where this one is from. This one came to me all the way from the UK, but I think they have UK and US distribution normally. It's a very pretty butterfly. But I'm super happy with my new gallery wall here. I love that I get to like lay in bed and look at this. It's so nice. I used to have a TV in this room, and I never really used it because I'm always watching things on my laptop anyhow, and that TV was from my apartment living room, and I actually put that away, and now I get to look at this instead, and it's much prettier. And I have this large dresser that I bought at a vintage flea market, actually, because I just was looking for a dresser, and this was the one that they had at the flea market that day. So really just bought this because it was nice and solid and would give me a lot of storage, not necessarily because I love this orangey color of wood, of course. But one day maybe I will sand it and restain it or paint it or something. But here atop my dresser, I have a couple of mirrored vintage vanity trays, some vintage perfume bottles over here. These are recent acquisitions. And I have, of course, more jars full of, bones, or I have these terrarium jars over here that are full of hair flowers and flower hair combs and things like that. I decided to store them all in those glass jars, which was a fun idea, I thought. And then on this side, I have more glass cloches. I have the giant brooch terrarium that I made here on the channel. Again, I will put a link in the card to that project. And then I have this smaller one that holds the massive Palm Springs brooch. If you haven't heard that story, I found this gigantic brooch in Palm Springs, and now it's featured in this little glass, under glass, like a little reliquary here. I think it deserves to be showcased. And then I have a couple more glass cloches here, and then this golden parrot that I recently found at Home Goods. The guy up at the counter thought I was mad for buying this. I could tell that he was judging me hardcore for thinking this was a good purchase, but my decor style is not for everyone, but it is something that I like. So I have a golden parrot in here. The parrot doesn't have a name yet, so feel free to add suggestions in the comments below. And yes, this is a raccoon skull in here. And these little spider webs you're seeing inside of my glass cloche sometimes, they are actually made of paper. They're just paper die cuts. They're very cheap. And I will link to these ones that I found on Etsy below as well if you would also like to have little tiny pieces of fine paper spider webs to put everywhere around your house. And in this dresser, by the way, are the rest of my vintage accessories. So this is the brooch drawer. Like I said, I'm a very spoiled human. I've been collecting for over a decade now, and so I have a lot of costume jewelry. I really have no good explanation for this. It's just, this is, I always say this is what I bought instead of drinks in my 20s. Like other people bought cocktails downtown, I bought a brooch. And here we are. This is where all my scarves are. Again, I find those for around 50 cents at the thrift store, so I have accumulated quite a few of them. And in the center drawer here, I have additional vintage clutch handbags because, I'm a vintage collector. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I collect vintage. Here it is. It has to go somewhere. Up here on the other side of the room here, we have a lot of boxes going on. Those blue boxes are archival, acid-free boxes that I store my hats in. Then I have a couple of round, globe lamps from IKEA. They're just cheap IKEA lamps that one time or another throughout my life I couldn't resist. This rattan kind of box, also from the IKEA, has all my workout clothes. but I don't tend to do any physical activity, so they can live up there because they're rarely used. And then on top of that, I have a Miss Sally Victor New York hat box, which I was very surprised. I recently ordered a hat at the end of last year, and they sent it in this Miss Sally Victor box. It's not a Sally Victor hat, otherwise it would have been way more expensive. But as someone who likes studying vintage hats, to have a Sally Victor hat box, I was very happy about that. So I've been displaying it up here. But in this little canvas clothing rack here is where I store my vintage suiting. I don't have a ton of room in my closet for all these suits as well. So all my vintage suiting and any suiting that I happen to have made are all in here. So this thing is full of like sachets of like anti-moth lavender stuff and little bars of cedar wood and all kinds of stuff, because this is the most, important. There's 2 Lillian suits in here. I don't want anything to happen to it, so it's like the most moth-proof area of my closet as well. Luna moths we like, clothes moths we do not, Those are the rules. And over here on this shelf, I have, again, different box bags. So this is the shelf of green box bags. You can't really tell. That one in front there is a dark kind of forest green color. We also have a bottle of white pine compound syrup, which with morphine and alcohol. So that would have been real good stuff. Down here we have some vintage books, a little beetle on a pedestal in here, and then my more red-based box handbags. Again, it's me. So I try and, find one of each color, and then I try and only stick with one of each color, but not really my strong suit. As we can see here, this is the black area. So I have a black velvet, a black satin, and a black patent leather bag here. This is the box bags. And then down here on the white shelf, I have a golden black lace handbag, and then also my white box handbags. This bone kind of colored resin box is actually full of all my sunglasses. And then the bottom 2 shelves on this bookcase, one has all of my DVDs, which I actually have no way to play right now because my current laptop does not have a CD drive, and that drives me absolutely bonkers. I really wish that laptops still had CD drives because I want to be able to watch my DVDs. And then the bottom there, you can see, has wicker handbags, and you can see the top of my very ancient space heater, which I don't really use up here very often, but sometimes it is just absolutely freezing. But that's sort of this corner of the room here, again, next to the window. I have this little corner wicker iron shelf thing, but this now currently has, speaking of me being a privileged princess, tiaras on it, and also my hair combs and my collection of teacups. I do have a few more teacups, but they're packed away with my kitchen stuff from back when I had my own kitchen. Those were the days. Then we have my newest decorated spot. This nightstand was my last spot to get decorated in this room. I just picked up this lamp actually at the antique mall, and I was seeing these for around like $70 online, and I picked one up at the antique mall for $19. So I feel like that was quite a score. I, of course, have already put a color changing LED bulb in this, so I can change the color anytime I want. But I have some vintage books here, this little furry cat thing that my dad actually bought me at a street fair when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I remember walking in a street fair back in my hometown in California with my dad and begging him to buy me this little cat, and he did. And I've had it ever since. And funny enough, my cat Cleo was very similar colors to this cat, and so now it reminds me of her, even though it predates my cat Cleo. But I have another of my brooch terrariums over here. This one houses my new giant spider beaded brooches, which is very fun. And again, I have my other Dutch floral poster from the Getty here above this nightstand so that it mirrors the other side, of course, even though this room is not arranged in any symmetrical sort of way. Oh well, I just love a dark Dutch floral painting. I have another one on the wall next to this, between this wall and the window as well. And this other one, actually, I did order online. The prints are really nice quality, but it did take them a while to get to me. I think there was some sort of delay, but I will link the shop that has those prints below if you don't want to go to Kinko's to print your Dutch florals like I do. But this is my bed. It doesn't normally look this nice, honestly. I don't usually get the fancy pillows out. And usually I have the blankets that are folded at the end of my bed right here. To look a little bit nicer, I usually have those pulled all the way up because it's been cold here and it's wintry. In the summertime, maybe my bed looks more like this. Of course, in the future, when I build my quote-unquote dream bedroom, I would like to have flocked black on black velvety wallpaper and decadent silk curtains with layers of fringes and silk and things like that. But for now, I'm sticking with the more kind of I don't know, hotel sort of fresh linens theme for my bed curtains and bedding. But I actually really love this bedroom, and it does feel very me, despite not every choice being mine, I suppose. My mom actually chose the wall colors in this room because this room was a guest room until I moved back home, and then it became my bedroom. So she had kind of redecorated it a little bit before I moved home, but that was almost a decade ago, and I am not the same person I was when I was 22, funny enough. But luckily, I do still love the color green. So thank you for coming on that funny little tour of my bedroom and my closet a little bit as well. So I guess you got a peek at some vintage stuff, which means this sort of still is in line with my channel. Not really. I just kind of asked if people wanted to see my bedroom, and you all said yes. So It's kind of a strange show and tell today, but thank you for sticking with me. And thank you as always for watching this video today. I will see you again here real soon. Bye.